Hi guys, it's Izzy and welcome back to my channel. If you're not new, welcome back to my channel. But if you are new, welcome to my channel. I'm trying to upload more. I have been sick for the past week with an ear infection and I'm still not completely better, but I need to stay on making videos, and this is one I've really wanted to make for a long time because it's been very highly requested, and anytime I try to make a TikTok about it, it gets taken down or taken off the For You page. So I'm not going to waste my energy just filming over and over again the same TikTok for it to get taken down, so I'm just going to post it on YouTube, and I can go a lot more in depth because I don't have to censor the names of medicines and stuff because they're also used as illegal drugs. People abuse them, so it'll just be easier if I post it on here. But yeah, I'm going to explain how I got diagnosed with ADHD and how, if you think you have ADHD, because a lot of people were commenting on my videos about ADHD that they're like, oh, I think I have it, but I don't know if I need to be evaluated or how do I get evaluated, and I don't want to self-diagnose. So I'm going to tell you, if this sounds like you, this is how you can go see about getting treated for ADHD. And I'm just going to go through the process that I took because I didn't really know what I was doing, especially being 18. It's different. Yeah, it was definitely a process. So I'm gonna save you the time and the money that I ended up wasting trying to figure out how to get diagnosed. And yeah, so let's just kind of get into the story. I'd also like to add that this video today is brought to you by Likewise, which is a media recommendation app. They have recommendations for books, movies, music, TV shows. I use it a lot. I post all my anime recommendations on there, so if you're really interested in possibly getting into anime, go check it out and follow me. I have the link in my description that'll take you right to where you need to go to download it. And you can follow me. I believe my @ is Izzy Rain. So check it out. I'll be posting all my anime recommendations, as well as right now they are featuring a lot of documentaries talking about BLM and Black directed movies and television. So if you're interested in getting more educated in that, definitely go check the app out. So I had already been seeing a therapist for about 2 months. And one of the symptoms of depression is lack of concentration. And I was having a really big issue concentrating in class. I could not focus. I basically, I developed a really bad caffeine addiction, drinking a big Red Bull every day before school, when I came to school, to be able to concentrate and stuff, which most people, if they have caffeine, they're just jittery, you know what I mean, hyper. But for me, when I drink caffeine, it calms me down, and I can just focus, and yeah. So that was the first sign that I might not be neurotypical. So yeah, I noticed it was an issue, and I talked to my therapist about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm still having issues with concentration, and she was like, yeah, I mean, it's your choice, because a therapist usually can't diagnose you with ADHD because they can't write prescriptions. So they mostly are just there to help you with depression, anxiety, coping skills and stuff, but they don't usually prescribe medicine. So that wasn't really in her field of study. So she couldn't diagnose me. And she was like, yeah, if you want to go get evaluated, you could definitely see the psychiatrist in our office, or go your own, find a psychiatrist that works for you. And you could see about being evaluated, but it also might just be a symptom of depression that will eventually go away. And I was like, okay. And I still was I don't know if it's just the depression, because I was starting to feel a lot better, and I was still having issues with depression, but I was I don't know, I don't think it's depression related. So since I'm 18, I thought, because I know the pediatrician I went to can diagnose ADHD, because they diagnosed my brother with ADHD when he was way younger, and he got treated for it for a while, but he was having really harsh side effects because they put him on Vyvanse, I think, and that's one of the harsher medicines for ADHD. So he didn't like the way it made him feel, so he just stopped taking the medicine. So the office was like, yeah, okay, if you want to actually get treated for it, you have to see a psychiatrist, because getting prescribed with ADHD medicine is such a tedious, what's the word? like special process because it gets abused so much that if like you're not taking the medicine, they won't prescribe it to you because they're like, well, you could be selling it, or like my parents could be using his medicine, like that kind of thing. So they were like, yeah, we're not gonna see you anymore for it since you won't take the medicine. So he recently just got diagnosed again by an actual psychiatrist. But anyway, I thought, I was like, you know what, since it's different when adults have ADHD, like it might be better for me to see like a family doctor. And that's what my mom thought too. So we called her doctor, like just regular doctor, and was like, can you evaluate for ADHD in adults? And they were like, oh yeah, we can. And I had never been to this doctor's office before, so I was like, okay, I'll just go myself. It's like, I'm 18 now, I gotta like do it myself. So I go, and it was like a regular like new patient appointment, and they were literally just like asking me about like family medical history and stuff, and I was like, yeah, my brother's been diagnosed with ADHD, like depression runs in my family, I have depression. I hadn't been diagnosed with anxiety or anything else yet, but yeah. And I like explained like I'm having issues concentrating and like explained the whole thing. And the lady was like, yeah, you might have ADHD. And I was like, okay, so how are we gonna treat this? And she was like, oh, I'm just gonna print you off some psychiatrists you can see to go actually evaluate you. And I was like, I thought you were supposed to evaluate me. So I completely took advantage of me and my money. So that was $100 I completely wasted to go sit down, tell them ADHD is in my family and so is depression. To get a piece of paper, I could have just Googled myself to find a psychiatrist. So that was very useless. I don't even think the psychiatrist I see was even on that list. But it took a while to actually find a psychiatrist, and the one I found, I was really lucky because he's a really good psychiatrist. And so I eventually found an office that sees adults, because usually psychiatrists, at least in my area, they either only see children or they only see adults. So I found one that only sees adults. And so I got an appointment actually it was like 2 or 3 weeks away. Sometimes you have to book the appointments like to get in with one to be evaluated like a month or two in advance. So like with the way like school's supposed to start pretty soon, especially with schools possibly being online. I know some schools are already saying that they're starting online. If you think you have it, I recommend trying to get an appointment like ASAP, because you're gonna want to get started on medicine before trying to do online school with ADHD, because it was not fun. And yes, COVID should not stop you from seeing a psychiatrist or getting mental help. My therapist's office still sees people. My psychiatrist's office still sees people. They just do temperature checks and require masks. But like, that's it. But don't be like, oh, because of like COVID, I can't go get evaluated. Go get evaluated. That's really important. That's still like, it's important. Like, go do it. That's like, should be a priority, because I wish I started the process of getting evaluated and stuff sooner, because I got my first psychiatrist appointment was a week before spring break, when then school got canceled. So it ended up I was like really panicked trying to get in as fast as I can, because I was like, my grades were starting to drop, and I was like, I need to get my grades up before finals and like the end of the year, because I need to boost my GPA as much as I can so I can like qualify for more scholarships, because right now I qualify for none. And so I went to my psychiatrist, and so I bet some offices are different. I've only seen one, but the whole like new patient thing was like, you go in and like they have like a nurse, and like all the staff at mine were like super nice. And like what the nurses do is they do a lot of just like the preliminary stuff. So when you actually see your psychiatrist, it's more just discussing like medicines and like the pros and the cons, and like my psychiatrist goes into like a ton of details about the different like treatment options. So the like nurse is just gathering your symptoms and stuff and like doing the basic evaluation, and then from there psychiatrist is like, yeah, okay. So she like started asking me like, okay, so like usually the evaluations go something like on an average, like per week, how many times do you catch yourself not being able to focus, or how many times a week do you catch yourself being irritable, how many times a week do you catch, like that kind of thing, like the typical symptoms of like ADHD. So I was like, all the time, like, and it, oh, like that kind of thing. You can say like, oh, that never happens, oh, this happens all the time, like, yeah. And they like evaluate you for depression and anxiety at the same time. And then the first appointments, they also do an evaluation to see if you have any other like significant disorders, such as like schizophrenia or like personality disorders and that kind of thing. See what kind of trauma you have, if like you possibly have a personality disorder and that kind of thing. So they were like, definitely the big issue is depression, anxiety, and you have, they thought they were more just like ADD, because ADD is actually still considered like it's a part of ADHD, but it's more like you aren't as hyper and you don't have as many of like the social and like other symptoms, but you're still neurodivergent and it still is like a disability, it's an issue. So they thought I had ADD, but like depression was also a really big issue. And my psychiatrist, thankfully, you don't want a pill pusher psychiatrist. If your psychiatrist, the first appointment you have is trying to prescribe you 3 different medications, I would try to find a different psychiatrist, because that's not good for you. Like I'm glad I started on like something very mild and then just like started working my way up, adding other things, because like I've heard of people, they go and they get prescribed like 4 different medications that they don't actually need, and now they're just like, they feel worse because they have all the side effects from all these different medications, and it just doesn't sound like fun. So I think that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. Definitely drop any like questions you have so I can make more videos about it. I'll probably make another video maybe going more in depth with like antidepressants and like going to therapy and that kind of thing. But I think this kind of covers like getting diagnosed with ADHD. So definitely subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Click the link in my bio to download likewise if you want some anime recommendations, if you're interested in getting an anime. Right now they also are featuring a bunch of documentaries that talk about BLM and other like modern day civil rights movements. So definitely go check that out. And I will see you guys next time on my channel. Make sure you also follow my Instagram for updates, and I will see you guys next time.